Genesee County at the Chamber of Commerce, speaking with Ellie Harold, the artist, and Jason McKinney, who is a co-founder of Manitou Wins. Now, Jason, can you kind of tell us how Manitou Wins started?
It started once I got back into music after moving to northern Michigan, and I joined a lot of large ensembles, and it occurred to me that there's a lot of opportunity for musicians to explore their craft in large ensembles, but there's so much more to be learned when you break off into chamber music working with just 3 or 4 other musicians. Right. But there's not a lot of opportunities to do that, and so I thought, let me get to know some musicians and see if they're interested. I mean, chamber music's more difficult, it's a more intimate thing, and we may not ever get to perform anything, but let's explore this. And so I started it. It didn't have a name at first. It took about a year, but we meet in my home in Maple City in Leelanau County, and we've just been growing since then. That was May of 2014.
Wow, so you have expanded. I mean, you have a location at your home, and so it's kind of like this cozy little place where a bunch of musicians get together and they just have a lot of fun with music and instruments. So you mentioned chamber music. Can you kind of explain to us what that exactly is?
Okay, chamber music is a sort of broad definition, but basically it means each musician is playing his or her own part. No one else is playing it with them. Whereas in an orchestra, say for instance the first violin part, there may be 40 other violinists playing the very same part. Whereas in chamber music, the flute is playing the flute part, the oboe is playing the oboe part. If you get lost, if you get carried away, you're taking everyone with you. You have no conductor. So it's a conversation, sort of like this, back and forth, everyone follow me. And that's why it's an intimate and fun thing to experience even as an audience.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. I would love to hear a concert that you guys performing. It just sounds awesome. It's a conversation, and you're just kind of listening to one another, which is really an interesting concept because you're listening and then you're just like playing out the music.
Right. It's unlike jazz where there's virtually nothing written down. In chamber music, virtually everything is written down, but it's left to your interpretation. When it says to slow down, you decide how much, but no one's waving their hands, and so everyone's really having to listen to everyone else's part while keeping track of their own.
And that is so interesting. I mean, I can only imagine how beautiful it sounds. And so you have Ellie Harold here, and she is actually the Artist of the Year. Am I correct?
Yeah, we call that our collaborating artist. We work together with the collaborating artist to sort of discuss our individual art, but also sort of joint exposure, bringing our art and her art together to new audiences, and also to kind of learn about each other's process. We talk about chamber music and then composition and arranging, which is part of what Manitou Wins does, and then we also discuss her painting process. What inspires her? How does she go about what she does?
Right. So this is kind of interesting, Ellie. You're an artist where you use actual, paint and paintbrush. He's an artist, but he uses instruments. So how do those two kind of come together and make something magical and beautiful?
Well, I think a lot of it comes out of something that I think we both experience, both the people in the group and I, of being present in the moment, and really paying attention to what's happening. Okay. So I'm hearing a note, and that note stimulates in me a memory or an idea, an attraction for a color. So I can pick up a color and put it out there. And that's when we do this live painting during the concerts, which we've done twice now.
Wow, and that is so cool and fascinating. I mean, you're just listening to this music, which gives you inspiration to paint this beautiful picture, and you're doing it in front of, hundreds of people.
Yes, that's quite risky. With the last concert we had at the Oliver Art Center in Frankfurt, there actually were about half the audience were people that Manitou Wins brought with them, and probably the other half were people who knew me. So I think everyone found it a very enriching experience, because sometimes during a music concert, people don't know where to look.
Right.
And so to have a visual focal point was very exciting for people. But it is scary to have all these people in back of you watching you do the next brushstroke.
And I'm sure your work is just absolutely beautiful when it gets done. And when the concert gets done, I mean, everybody just probably enjoys the entire experience.
Yes, I think that, people just commented on that experience like nothing, I've painted in front of people before, just out, in the national park or something.
Right.
But this was just such a dimensional kind of experience.
Very neat, very interesting. So Jason, how can people come to your concerts? Where can they find you? Do they look on a website, Facebook, phone number? What is it?
Actually, we have all of the above. You can go to our website. That's www.manitoowins.com. You can look at our performances page on that website. We list everything that we have coming up. We also have an interesting blog there where you can learn about the composers whose music we're playing. Some of them are still alive. You can even contact them, see pictures of our guest artists, see more of Ellie's art, refer to her website. And then we have our Facebook page. You can follow along with all the things we're doing there, even see pictures of rehearsals if you're into that.
Yeah. And that's really cool. Thank you so much for being here, both of you, and telling us all about Manitou Winds and your art.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At the Benzie County Chamber of Commerce with My News 26, I'm Marlaina Scarbrough.